sitting in a tree stand or a ground blind or even this little knoll I was laid up on can kind of be monotonous because there's no action. Man, it's boring. But it wasn't boring. I had plenty of action. This was a great funnel. The deer were crossing back and forth across the water almost constantly. One of the most entertaining aspects, though, was the fact that the brush was so thick, and every time I saw the dark shape of a deer, I didn't know, was it a fawn, a buck fawn, or a big monster buck? I had to get my binocular up fast because oftentimes the shooting opportunity was a few fleeting seconds. I bet you kill a good deer today just sitting all day. That's what happened late in the hunt. I was sitting there trying to see through all the haze of the fog. A little bit of drizzle was starting to come out of the sky when I saw a dark form come out of the bank, out of these thick willows. Deer right there coming out of doe. There's a doe. There's a buck right behind her. You know as well as I do that during the rut, a doe can often be followed by Mr. Big. Oh, it's that old 4x3. He's a long ways away, but I could see the white tips of his points. They were shining because everything was wet. His antlers were glistening, his body was wet and slick. He looked pretty cool. There was Grandpa. I'd found him, finally. God, he's a long ways away. Finding Grandpa? Well, at the moment, that was the easy part. Shooting him? That was getting to be a little bit trickier. He was in tall brush. He was acting like he was gonna run off because that doe wasn't quite ready for his advances, and he was a little bit a ways from me, a long shot. After I knew it was him, I started ranging objects around him to make sure I was getting the right reading. Oh man, 200, 280. Was he gonna give me an opening to take the shot? That was the next thing. Suddenly, instead of going back into the brush, he turned around, come back down to the river, and started working over a sapling. Of all the lucky breaks. That put him in a stationary mode. I was able to get my gun into position, slide my backpack over, get a solid rest, and I mean rock solid, and take one more last rangefinder reading. 286 yards, and I was shooting off a shooting bench. But then out of the corner of my eye, another obstacle. The doe was coming back, and if I didn't get the shot off fast, it looked like her body might cover the buck's. I took a big deep breath, settled the crosshairs, and let the bullet fly. He went into that thick brush. Oh, I didn't have a chance for a second shot. Looked good, pumped up, shoulder looked like it kind of buckled a little bit. Let's just give him a minute. I'm pretty sure he's gonna go down in there, or more likely is down, but if that's the buck I think it is, and I'm pretty sure, he's cool. He's definitely gonna rank high on the mark list of favorite trophies since we've been seeing him all these years. Wow. Don't you just love deer hunting? After the shot, I just took a moment to gather my equipment, make sure I had everything with me, and to make sure he had a moment or two to expire, and then I bailed off the bank to go see if there was a trophy in the buck brush. As I was sneaking through the brush, making sure that if he jumped up, I still had a chance to shoot him, I just kept thinking, this is the buck I was after. This was the whole reason for this trip. And there, right in front of me in the grass, was the trophy. Yeah, that is the buck that we've seen several years in a row. Big, old, heavy-duty, 3x4 looks like. I mean, this deer, he's giving me the slip. I tried to get him last year on a cull hunt just to get him out of the gene pool. Ah, beautiful buck, great mass, Look at these hooked in brows, heavy duty mass all the way out to the end. And is that there a main beam hook to die for? He's a pretty old Roman-nosed buck. I just love these older deer. They've got that big brawn look to them, the body, and of course they're sporting that great mass, and they're smart. Some deer, they leave their homelands when they're rutting. They'll make big swings out to new pieces of timber, new country to look for a hot doe. And that's what I think happened here. We had lost track of this deer for several days in a row, and I kept thinking, he's gonna come back here. Sure, there's some pretty ranch girls out there, those whitetail varieties on the other side of the creek or river. This dude here, he always liked this spot and another spot next door. He was always in there. We hadn't been seeing him. Today we did. He made the wrong move at the wrong time. He just didn't play the dating game quite right.